What's going on, guys? Getting in the green. We got Monday Night Football here. Chiefs and the Giants in Kansas City. Good weather tonight. This should be a high-scoring game. Should be a fun one. But yeah, I mean, let's get started at the top, and we all know who's first up here when you got Kansas City playing. You're gonna be looking at Patrick Mahomes is $12,000 tonight. How you feeling on Mahomes?
Yeah, in general, I think this is an interesting game. In general, it's just like whenever you have a Chiefs game, there's going to be so many top-heavy players. It's hard to, I like all these guys, but you're going to have to get creative, especially with captain. Right off the bat, that's how I think I'm going to lean. I'm going to find some value in my captain and try to load up on these top guys. But yeah, Mahomes is a must-play for me. There's two ways I think this game really plays out. I think either the Chiefs, can run away with this game, or it's going to be competitive. Either one of those scenarios, Mahomes is safe to me. He's going to score points. I'm sure he'll be one of, if not the highest paid scoring player. I'm having real trouble if playing him at my captain at all, though. He's just too expensive. I think he comes to 18,000 when you're captain. So must play for me in almost all of my lineups, but in very few of my captain lineups, just because I really don't like how the rest of my lineup turns out.
Yeah, I'm with you there. You can't play him at captain, man. You just can't do enough. And also, I mean, Mahomes tends to just, when he gets a guy hot, man, he pounds that guy. If it's Hill, if it's Kelsey, if it's one of these other guys, and they generally just outscore him, at captain. So you're going to have to pick your spot. But yeah, I do like Mahomes here. I think this game is competitive. I don't think the Giants' defensive line is very good, though. So I think he will have time to sit back there, and we're not going to see a repeat of last week's performance for him. He's going to bounce back here at home, prime time. I don't think Kansas City's as good as they have been in the past, obviously, but they are still a top-tier team in the NFL, I believe. So I think Mahomes bounces back here, and I think it's a good spot for him.
Yeah.
Next, we've got his two main weapons. We've got Tyreek Hill at 11,000, Kelsey at 10,600. Personally, I'm leaning Hill here over Kelsey. Higher ceiling. I think their floors are pretty similar at this point. It does scare me that teams have figured out the too high safety does really limit Hill's game, but I find it hard to see that Giant secondary really running with this guy. So my lean here is Hill. I think he's got the higher ceiling, could win you a tournament here.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm playing both these guys in a lot of my lineups if I get the right captain in. Hill is better to win you the tournament, like you said. Hill is way more likely the guy to score 40 or even 50, and he's shown that he can. I do personally think Kelsey's a safer play. I think Hill has a much better chance of busting just because of his style of being a receiver. I think Kelsey's old faithful. He's always going to get his catches. He's always going to be open in the middle. Hill's game revolves around more about burning people. And I do think Hardman and even Pringles and some of the other guys can play that role that Kelsey really can't be replaced. So it's a tough one. Of course, I'm playing most tournaments here, so I do like Hill better because of that boom potential. Trying to get them both, and I do think Kelsey is a safer play to get his normal 20 to 25. If one of them is going to be a bust, I'm going to guess it's going to be Hill, but he has that boom potential. So kind of got to make your own decision there. Both of your good plays.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm looking at Kelsey's stats right now, and he started the year off great, 25, 26, 20. Since then, 6, 17, 17, 13.
True.
I don't know, man. At 2,600, though, like.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I still see this game. I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably going to be – I'm going to play a couple of them, but I don't know. I don't think I love them at 10,600. All right. We've got Daniel Jones, 10,200 here. And then we'll kind of drop down into the next grouping. So Daniel Jones, I like him here, man. Kansas City's defense I don't think is very good. Daniel Jones has been a very sneaky fantasy guy this year. Had two really bad outings with the Rams and Dallas was the injury game. But he didn't look good there pre-injury either. I think he had, That was at the end of the first half almost, and he scored like 4 fantasy points. 8 against the Rams. Has 17 last week, or his last outing against Carolina. So I think he's a sneaky play here. They're going to play from behind. So I am going to be playing a bunch of Jones here at 10,200.
Yeah, I like Jones. He's in most of my lineups. I do think this game is going to be relatively competitive. By relatively, I just mean like the Giants will still be scoring, not necessarily maybe they're down 14 the whole game. I don't think it's going to be a 40-0 type of game. So I like Jones. I am making a few lineups, though, with the assumption that Kansas City stomps them out. And Jones definitely carries some risk. He will not be in those lineups. But generally, I do like him at 10,200.
All right, next we've got the running backs, and I think they're both pretty reasonably priced on this slate. Not cheap, but you've got 9,000 for Darrell Williams and 8,200 for Booker. Personally, I think I'm leaning Booker here. I think he does more out of the passing game, and I think he has let's say, less competition in his backfield. Not that Darrell Williams really gives up too much, but you do have McKinnon looming. And just a full allotment of weapons. They do go 5 wide sometimes there in Kansas City, where I think the Giants will be smart to slow this pace down a little bit. I think they do lean a little heavier on Booker. So personally, I'm going Booker of the 2 running backs, but I think they're both viable at that price point.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think they're bad deals. Like I do think they're cheaper. I'm probably passing on Darrell Williams. Kind of for what you said. They're cheaper pass first offense. He did have his first start where he was a full starter. He got 2 touchdowns. But we can see kind of when he doesn't get in the end zone or they're passing or things go wrong, I do think he's got a lower floor. Booker's definitely going to get his touches. I just, at 8,200, I think I like the Giants receivers more, especially if you think game flow. So I don't dislike them. I will be playing a couple. I'll probably play more Booker, like you said, but I don't have a problem passing on both also and really loading up on the receivers if you think that the Giants are going to be down. Getting Shepard and Tony cheaper than Booker, I'm fine with as well.
Yeah, I agree there. So we know Barkley's out here. Now the next 2, let's talk about the next 3, but the top 2 are questionable still. We got Shepard, 7,000, Tony, 6,800, and Darius Slayton at 6,400. Last news that I've seen is that Shepard and Tony have one more hurdle to clear, but they're both expected to play tonight. Now, if something there changes, that will completely shift my opinion on these 3, but let's assume all of them play here. Personally, I like Tony at 6,800 the best. When he's been on the field recently, he has absolutely been the alpha one. Shepard took over when he left that game, but I think that guy had like 3 for 32 on the first drive before his injury popped back up in his last game. I do like Shepard second there at 7,000. And then honestly, outside of taking a shot, man, if both those guys play, I got no love here for Slayton.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. The only thing, I'm definitely in agreement that Slayton is only viable if both those guys are out, not even if one of those guys are out.
Yeah.
If both those guys are out, then I like Slayton and the guy we'll get to later in Pettis, but both are pretty much irrelevant to me if Shepard or Tony play, and especially if both play. I think Tony's better for tournaments. We've seen an explosion out of him, 30, 31, probably even higher than Shepard. I'm not 100% sold still that he's the one, even with his hot start to the last game when they were both playing. So I'm going to probably in the lineups that I play them, I'm going to play them both. Tony's definitely got more upside to win you the tournament type of stuff. I think Shepard's probably the safer play, kind of similar to Kelsey Hill there a little bit for me. But honestly, in most lineups where I'm playing one of them, I end up playing both just because I think both are very affordable here. If this game's competitive in those types of lineups, these guys could score as much as Hill and Kelsey, and they're just astronomically cheaper. But they get a lot of PPR catches. They get a lot of looks here. So I like both these guys a lot.
All right. We'll slide past the backup quarterbacks here. And now we're down to two more giant pass catching options here. We got Evan Ingram at 5,400. Skip over Galladay, who's out tonight, and then Pettis at 5,000. I don't like either of them if Shepard and Tony play. Pettis was big for us when they were all out. He had a great game there, but I don't see him even seeing the field too much there. And there's some guys below him here that play way more snaps than that guy if those guys are viable. Evan Ingram, another guy who I think has an okay role on this team, but personally, if I got to go down there, I think I like both kickers better than I like Evan Ingram tonight. So I'm not going to be playing too much of either of these guys if those guys are healthy.
No, I'm going to be playing zero of these guys if those guys are healthy. And honestly, even if both of those guys are out, I will go play Pettis. And I think Pettis still has a role there. Evan Ingram's just not on my radar right now. He's just not fantasy relevant to me. I know he had, a better game last game, but even that, you're talking about 10 fantasy points, wasn't the biggest factor. Weird game. I prefer Slate and Pettis if those guys miss, and I just don't think that Ingram is he's more expensive than Pettis. I don't think he's going to be a better play if that happens, but otherwise, neither are on my radar.
All right, next we've got Hardman at 4,800, and I love this guy, man. I think that's a great price point for him.
Yep.
He's had 4 catches, 9 catches the last 3 games. Outside of the top 2 dogs there for Kansas City, this guy's next in line for targets. He's always viable to go deep. I think at 4,800, man, the usage that this guy gets, it's hard to beat that value there. So he could definitely bust. He could have 4 or 5 points, really screw you over. But I will be playing a lot of Hardman here at 4,800.
Yeah, I'm with you. He's probably, from a price standpoint, he's probably my play of the week here. I'm not saying he's going to score the most fantasy points, but when you project value, he's probably it. And he's actually probably going to be the guy that's in a lot of my captain positions. I don't think, he's going to be necessarily the highest scoring, but he's consistent. Right now, he looks like he's involved in that offense. We've seen the explosion there. If he gets a touchdown, you're pretty much made in the captain position, and it really gives you that money to do what you want at the top. And I think this is going to be one of those games where it is going to be top heavy. You're going to need to pick the right cheap guy, but otherwise, if you don't play the big dogs, you're missing out on a lot of fantasy points.
Yeah, I agree. You're going to want to fit as many of those guys as you can. Yeah. All right, next we've got the kickers and the defenses, and we can kind of just go through them all here. So starting with Butker at 4,000, 3,800 on Gano, 3,400 on the Chiefs D, 2,800 on the Giants defense. I think both kickers are viable here. I like them both over on SuperDraft a little bit more because of the multiplier. My problem going kicker here is that I think this game does have a bunch of points scored, and neither of these defenses are extremely stout in the red zone. So I can see a bunch of touchdowns being scored, and in that's the case, I think some of even these like Hardmans, even maybe a Pringle, somebody else just outscores the kickers tonight. But look, if you think that one of these teams kicks a couple field goals, man, these guys are definitely in play for offenses that are going to move, and both of these are good kickers. I'd probably lean Butker. $4,000 for a kicker that definitely blasts 50-yarders with ease. So that's where I'm at on the kickers. The defenses, I probably wouldn't play either of them. If you want to play out this scenario where the Chiefs are done, maybe, they have been turning the ball over at an insane rate. Throw in the Giants, but for me, the defenses are a pass.
Yeah, I'm definitely not touching the defenses. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm with you. I like both kickers. There's an argument for both here. Obviously, Butker, like season long, is one of the best kickers on one of the best offenses. He's also just in real life one really good kicker. Graham, though, he's had some huge fantasy outings, and I think this could be one of those games where it's bend not break, where the Giants have enough offensive drive, but just still aren't polished enough to get it actually in the end zone. The problem is if they play from behind, they're going to be going for it on fourth down and things like that. But otherwise, Gano's a kind of a sneaky play for possibly the better kicker on a team that's going to lose the game just because they're not going to break through. So both are interesting to me. I actually may take a flyer. I think I might be playing a little bit more Graham Gano and just hope that my kind of hunch is right there. That when it's competitive, they're going to be settling for more field goals and touchdowns. I should have more faith in the Chiefs getting it in the end zone as opposed to the field goals.
All right. I'll just kind of. There's not too much else down here that I'm really interested in, so I'll just pick out the two that might play, and that would be Pringle at 2,200 and Robinson at 800. Now, Robinson actually runs more routes than Pringle every game, even though Pringle's had the better stats here recently. 6 targets, 3 targets, 2 targets. He had 5 catches last game, scored 12 fantasy points at $2,200. Um, not a bad place at all if you want to squeeze in a lot of the top dogs. And then I don't think Robinson's going to get played too much here, but I'll tell you, man, this guy is live to go deep at any given moment, man. He had a bad game last game, 1 on 4 targets. The game before that, 3 catches on 6 targets. Had the touchdown, scored 13 fantasy points. He's $800. Yeah, obviously we're talking tournaments here. I don't mind this guy at all. If he does score a touchdown, he will win you the tournament. At $800 for a guy that is on the field as often as he is on that offense, I think you could be worse. You could do worse on this lineup. So, what about you down here in the bottom here?
Yeah, I'm at the same place. Pringle and Robinson are the only two to consider. I'm sure all of us have watched enough Chiefs that you see Robinson's very similar to both Tyreek Hill and Hardman. Absolutely super fast guy, goes deep, gets in the end zone. Pringle definitely catches a little bit more like normal route type of passes. Not that he doesn't catch home runs also. Both are viable here. They're obviously cheap. Just depends what you want to do with your lineup. I like Hardman more than these guys in a very similar go get in the end zone once, but as flyers, these are significantly cheaper. You can do a lot more with your lineup. The only other one, which really I'm reaching here. This is not someone I would really want to play, but if both those Giants receivers are out and you want to differentiate yourself to try to win a tournament, we saw the first game that John Ross played when everybody was out. He did have that huge game, caught the deep touchdowns, got like 16. Hasn't done anything since then. He's gotten 5 targets, 2 targets, 2 targets. This is only viable if both those guys are out and you want to take a flyer to try to win the tournament. He's at least someone that I can see catching a deep ball. But other than that, no safety there at all.
All right, guys, that's the Monday night Showdown slate. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and let's win some money tonight.